for recording. Well, so I would first like to introduce Kyle to introduce himself, and I know like his name has some variations as Kev, Kate, or something like that, but I always forget it. Like, sorry, but I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us what's your name, what's your age, where do you come from, what do you study, where do you study, and what are your personal interests and hobbies.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is KV. My full name is Covered, but you can call me KV, like a K and a V. I'm 22 years old. I'm originally from Malaysia. I study at Minerva University. I'm currently studying in London, in the UK. And some of my personal interests and hobbies include cooking, swimming, rock climbing, cycling, and watching TV. So yeah, I'm really happy to get to know it and all of you today and answer any questions that you might have about me or anything.
Interesting. So, what exactly do you study in America? I think you have not mentioned that.
Oh yeah, I study political science and economics.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And your hobbies is cooking, hiking, and
Cooking, swimming, cycling,
cycling.
rock climbing, and cooking.
Ok. Perfeito, pessoal. Então, agora eu pedi para que o que sempre fizesse uma introdução para que a gente pudesse conhecer um pouquinho mais sobre ele. E atualmente ele tem 22 anos. Ele nasceu na Malásia, mas ele estuda em uma universidade que atualmente você estuda em vários semestres em países diferentes, que é a Universidade de Minerva, e atualmente ele está localizado em Londres, né? Ele está morando por lá no momento, e ele cursa ciências políticas e economia ao mesmo tempo, né? Então faz dois cursos. E alguns dos seus principais hobbies é que ele gosta de cozinhar, pedalar, né? Bicicleta, e também ele gosta de nadar. Então esses são os principais hobbies deles. So before we get questions from the students, I would like to actually make a few more questions before we do it. So, if you, what would be your shower song? Like,
Oh, my shower song right now, it's been a lot of Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey. No specific song. I just play the whole album and see what pops up.
uh like you just go to Spotify and play "This Is Taylor Swift," and then you just go. Mhm.
Exactly.
Bom, então eu perguntei para o Keith qual que é talvez a sua música de tomar banho, né? Que a gente fala shower song, é algo mais popular em inglês. E ele disse que ele gosta muito de ouvir Taylor Swift e Lana Del Rey no aleatório. A gente... Perfect, so thank you, Keith. And now I would already like to introduce the students to make questions if you would like to. Então, se alguém aqui gostaria de fazer perguntas para o Kevin, fiquem à vontade para levantar as mãos aqui no Meet mesmo, que eu estarei moderando vocês para poderem fazer perguntas. So firstly, I would like to introduce the questions. Kling, fique à vontade.
Hi, Kevin. I have you three questions. The first is, what's your class? That is, when does it end? The second, which countries have you visited during your study? And which country are still before you complete your course?
Sorry, I didn't catch your first question. Can you repeat it?
Uh, what's your class? That is, when does it end?
Oh, when does my university end? Like when do I graduate?
Yes, I mean, of
Oh,
course.
yeah, I graduate next year, 2025. And your second question, which countries I visited? I've visited the US, South Korea, Taiwan, India, and Argentina, and now in the UK. And I'm going to visit Germany next semester.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kling. And thank you, Keith, for answering. Next, let me see. Uh, okay, Raissa.
Hi everyone. Hi Kavi. Uh, how is this semester in UK? You stay in UK now, yes?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I like the semester. Just the London is very expensive and the weather has not been very nice. This when I got here, the sunset, it would get dark at night at 4 p.m. So the days felt very short, but now they're getting longer, which is better. So now it's feeling better. I never appreciated sunlight so much until I came to London, where there's so little sunlight during the winter.
Thank you. And I have another question. Uh, how is sorry? What is the famous tradition in your country?
Oh, famous traditions. Do you mean like hmm, what would it be a famous tradition? Let me think. I think right now it's Ramadan. So it's the Muslims' holy month. So it's a very big celebration in Malaysia, and even though I don't celebrate Ramadan, it involves the whole country. There's a lot of bazaars, like night markets towards the evening where you can buy food, and there's so many around. Besides that, some fun traditions I would say is every holiday that we have different traditions. Some of them I participate, some of them I don't. But Ramadan is always a very fun time to be home. Oh, one tradition I think that um, is common across everyone, regardless of what race or religion you are, is we have something called open house. So during your celebration, for me, it will be Chinese New Year, or for Muslims, it will be Ramadan or Eid. You would have open your house to all your friends, your families, and your neighbors, and it's usually very big. You have a lot of food. So that's the concept of an open house. Like my house is your house, and you can come and visit anytime, talk, gather with friends. So yeah, I think that's one tradition that is common across Malaysia.
Thank you, KV.
But it's actually so interesting. So it's just like open house for the relatives and friends to come in and like feel like they're in your house out there. Okay. Like when exactly this happens?
It would happen during your own celebration. So, like for me, my family doesn't host it, but some of our friends do during Chinese New Year. And then if you're Muslim, you host it during Eid. So there's open houses happening throughout the whole year. Government or like some other like community organizations also do it. So we usually have one open house like every 3 months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got it. Bom, então a Raíssa perguntou a segunda pergunta, quais são as principais tradições do seu país, que é a Malásia. Ele falou que o Ramadão agora é bem presente, uma tradição muito forte. E também ele tem uma tradição que chama Open House, que eles abrem a sua casa para várias pessoas ali, amigos, parentes, pessoas próximas, assim, de confiança, que eles abrem suas casas ali de forma aberta para as pessoas visitarem e se sentirem como se fosse uma de hospitalidade na sua própria casa, sabe? É algo assim que eles falam como se você fosse bem-vindo na sua própria casa. E isso acontece principalmente na data do Ano Novo Chinês, mas às vezes isso acontece várias outras vezes ao ano, então tem algumas organizações que às vezes acabam fazendo esse tipo de eventos e que às vezes ali a cada 3 meses esse tipo de evento open house acaba acontecendo. Perfect. Great. So I just would like to reiterate that now you guys can feel free to raise your hands and make questions. Então, gostaria de reiterar que se vocês gostariam de fazer perguntas, vocês podem ficar à vontade para levantar mãos aqui no Meet, que eu estarei apoiando vocês em qualquer dúvida que vocês tiverem também. Se vocês gostariam de perguntar para o Kim. Next, we have Erika.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, KV. I'm glad to see you again here. And I have a lot of questions for you about Minerva University. What was your admission process at the Minerva University? And it was difficult to get into Minerva University? And tell about your adaptation in this university, and tell us about what was the biggest challenge at Minerva University.
Thank you. The admissions process was online. I did it just after I graduated high school. There was like some tests online, and I had to do a lot of documents. Whether it's difficult to get in, it's very subjective. It depends on who you ask. The admissions rate is very low, but at the same time, Minerva students are just different from other university students. So I know some friends who got into Minerva but got rejected from other universities. But I also know I knew someone who got into Oxford but got rejected from Minerva. So it's not the same kind of people that you're looking for, because I think Minerva is looking for people with that do things outside of academics a lot. About my adaptation in university, I think it would probably be like multitasking and like just handling everything on my own, because in high school I was living at home. I just had to care about studying, but now I'm like fully independent. I have to care about my groceries, about my finances. So that was a lot of adaptation for me. And I think the biggest challenge was also speaking a lot, because we have to talk a lot in classes, and I'm not used to that. I'm used to just listening to a teacher talk in class, and I'm just taking down notes and just answering exams. But now I have to talk a lot and do assignments. So that was a lot of adaptation for me, because I was very bad with time management in my first year. I'm actually still pretty bad with it. But
I imagine.
with like doing assignments, because with assignments, once you start, you can continue doing it until a long time, whereas exam ends a certain time. um so I think that has to be my biggest challenge so far.
Wow, thank you so much. Good
Thank you.
answers.
Thank you so much, Erica, for bringing your question. Next, we have, let's see, Marli, fique à vontade.
Hi, Ken. Ah, Thiago, eu tô aqui meia de abelhuda, você sabe, né? Que eu não sei nada de inglês, não estou entendendo nada, porque não está abrindo a minha tradução aqui, mas eu quero ir em frente e encarar, tá, meninos? Então, eu estou sempre aqui com vocês. Sorry. Ken, how is the life in Malaysia?
Oh, that's a very open-ended question. I think life in Malaysia is very relaxed. So if I have to describe it, I live in the capital, so it's a bit more um more busy than in other areas. But I would describe life in Malaysia as people are very friendly in general. Um, and a lot of I think our days revolve around food. So it's a joke, but it's actually really true. Like while you're eating breakfast, my friends and family will already be asking, "What are we having for dinner?" So we always plan our whole day around food, because I think Malaysians are very proud of our food, and we enjoy our food a lot. Um, Besides that, I think Malaysians spend a lot of time in the car because we have a lot of traffic jams. Um, and we don't really spend time a lot outside because it's so hot. Right now in Malaysia, it's like 44 degrees Celsius, I think, because there's a heat wave. So everyone's just inside, indoors. A lot of my time growing up, I spent in shopping malls because it's air conditioned, and a lot of Malaysians also spend a lot of time in shopping malls. Um, I think the shopping mall I go to near my house is actually the fourth or fifth largest one in the world. It's really, really big. But I would say Malaysians' life, I would describe in food, traffic jam, and shopping mall. Three things.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Congrats for bringing your question, Maggie. You did it really great. That's that's what we actually want to see here. Congrats. Bom, então a Marli perguntou um pouquinho mais sobre como que é a vida na Malásia, de forma geral, e o Kev compartilhou que ele mora na capital, né? O lugar que ele moraria na Malásia, se ele estivesse lá, seria na capital, mas ele não está em Londres agora. Mas o local que ele morava era, de certa forma, mais agitado que os outros lugares, assim, de forma geral, principalmente porque a capital, acho que é igual em qualquer lugar do mundo. E as pessoas lá, de certa forma, são amigáveis, assim, e o pessoal lá também tem um grande respeito pela sua própria culinária. E eles gostam, assim, de sempre estar planejando as suas alimentações com antecedência, né? Tipo, ele menciona que agora eles acabaram de tomar café da manhã, mas eles já estão pensando o que eles vão fazer no jantar. Enfim, de certa forma, eles têm muito respeito pela sua própria gastronomia. E eles não costumam passar muito tempo fora de casa, porque ele diz que lá é um país muito quente, nas ruas, assim, de forma geral, é muito quente. E ele também passava muito tempo em shoppings, por exemplo, quando ele estava lá, porque o shopping tem ar-condicionado e tudo mais, então é, ele costumava ficar em shoppings. E também, de forma geral, o pessoal da Malásia tem costume muito forte de ficar em shopping, na verdade. Eles costumam muito ir para o shopping. E é isso de forma geral, então ele definiu que a Malásia é sobre ir ao shopping e são pessoas amigáveis e também eles têm muito respeito pela culinária. Perfect. Thank you, Marli. Thank you, Keith. I was confusing. Next, Elaine, fique à vontade.
Hello, David. Nice to see you again. Good evening, everybody here in our meeting. Thank you for your stay with us, with patience, to try to teach us something in English. My question for you is, how long have you stayed away from your family? How many times do you visit your parents? Another question is, I was researching before our meeting about Malaysia. I learned that there have twin tower. This twin tower is the sixth largest in the world. This tower has 88 floors, and there is a connection between them, and where people move between them. Have you ever visited this tower, Kevin? You know about it?
Yeah, good question. The first question about how long I stayed away from my family, it's been about 8 months since I've been home. I usually visit them twice a year, but because I spent my last semester in Argentina, it was too far, too expensive to go home. So it's been 8 months, and I think from now it will be 1 year. Every 1 year I'll go home. And your second question about the Twin Towers, yeah, it's one of the most iconic buildings in Malaysia. Like whenever most people think of Malaysia, they will think of the Twin Towers. At one point, it was the tallest towers in the world. I think it's still the tallest Twin Towers in the world. And have I visited? I've actually not gone into the tower. The tower itself is offices. The bridge between the towers, you can visit. You just have to pay. And I think, I'm not sure about all of you, but for me, I've not gone to many tourist attractions in my own city because to me, it's normal. I have been to the shopping mall below the towers. Everyone goes there, and the park as well. And I've taken photos with the tower, but I haven't been inside the tower before.
Interesting. In New York, had some building like it, but last year, 2023, I went in World Trade Center, and now is a terrible place. I cried and I felt very sad because the tough situation happened there. It's terrible for all of world, all of people around the world suffer what happened there. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Yeah, it's a very sad thing that happened. Yeah, and Fabio asked me to share. This is the Twin Towers, like this. Oh, let me open it. But yeah, this is a picture of the Twin Towers. And if you see here, this is the towers, this is the bridge, and this is the shopping mall below. So almost everything in Malaysia, there is always a shopping mall.
Beautiful, beautiful, big and beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you, Eleni, for bringing your question. Now let's follow up with line. And next we have one sec. Durval, fique à vontade.
Good evening, everyone. Kavi, I'm glad to see you again, and I have questions for you. What's your goals after you graduate, and which country do you want to live in and work in? And do you work in the economics or science politics?
Good questions. Very. Now it's also making me reflect a bit. My goals after I graduate is to find a job first. But that's actually a goal before I graduate. I need to find a job, and I hope to live and work in the US at least for the next few years. I actually don't really plan to work in political science or economics. I'm planning to work in education, in teaching, or nonprofits, but probably in the US and maybe somewhere else after that.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Good luck for you.
Perfeito. Thank you, Durval. Thank you, Kid. Bom, então o Durval perguntou os seus principais objetivos assim que ele terminar a faculdade, aqui que ele deseja trabalhar, e se talvez ele deseja trabalhar na área de economia e ciências políticas, que é a área que ele está se formando. Mas, na verdade, ele falou que o objetivo dele é encontrar um trabalho ainda, enquanto ele estiver na faculdade, né, encontrar um trabalho antes de terminar. E ele não exatamente planeja trabalhar na área de economia e ciências políticas, mas sim na área de educação, trabalhando em organizações sem fins lucrativos nos Estados Unidos. Perfect. So, thank you, Durval. Next, we have Enox. Fique à vontade.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all again. Durval has already asked my question, but I have another one. I'd like to know if is there in Malaysia any kind of incentive to the people that are studying at Minerva University, for example? That is, in my opinion, that's a very expensive courses. If there is any kind of incentives to the graduated people to do their own business or not, or if only there is the opportunity to get good jobs in other countries, or if is it possible even in Malaysia? Please.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think there's incentives towards people who studied at Minerva University in Malaysia, like specific incentives. There are incentives. There are a lot of programs to support people that want to start their own business, but a lot of companies, I think they look a lot at your university, and most of them want like well-known universities. And in Malaysia, at least Minerva is not very well known. So like a lot of scholarships to study abroad, they don't include Minerva because it's not on official rankings. So I would say it's a bit harder because you need to explain to people what Minerva is, convince them it's a real university. But I think it's still possible to get a job. My sister got jobs there while she was waiting to go to the US, and it's still possible to work in Malaysia. It's just that there won't be anything special. In fact, it might be a bit harder because you have to convince people a bit more.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I was having some issues to open the microphone. Well, so thank you, Anax. Next, I see Pedro Henrique. Fique à vontade para fazer sua pergunta.
Hi, everyone. Hi, KV. Do you have any plans to visit Brazil one day? And what do you know about our country? I only have these two questions.
I have visited Brazil just like a bit. I went to Foz do Iguazu for like a few hours. But what do I know about Brazil? I know about like Carnival, and the food like brigadeiro and cocinha. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Uh, and I know that besides that, what do I know about Brazil? I think that's about all I know about Brazil, but I definitely plan to visit sometime in the future, like more to maybe Rio or Sao Paulo. But yeah.
Thank you, KV. Glad to talk to you.
Thank you, Pedro, for bringing your question. I think it's maybe your first time here making a question, so welcome to our community. O Pedro perguntou agora para o que ele sabe sobre o Brasil, e ele falou que ele já visitou o Brasil, né? Ele conheceu Foz do Iguaçu, então ele conheceu uma pequena partícula do nosso país, né? Uma região. Mas o que ele sabe, assim, de forma geral, é que ele conhece o carnaval, e ele já provou o brigadeiro, e ele também conhece a coxinha, né? E, então, é isso que ele sabe, assim, de forma geral, mas no futuro ele pretende conhecer um pouco mais, visitar o Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, claro, outras regiões também, né? Que talvez ele nunca ouviu falar, mas que é importante. Perfect. So, thank you, Pedro. Next, Elvis, fique à vontade.
Hi, Casey. Nice to see you again. My question is, what inspired you to study at Minerva University, and how does it compare to education in Malaysia?
That's a good question. I think what inspired me was the idea of traveling and like more of active learning. I had both of my siblings older than me went to different universities. My brother studied in the UK under government scholarship, and my sister studied in Minerva. And I asked them like what were their experiences, and my brother had told me like he basically didn't really study much his whole time there. But my sister told me like Minerva is really hard, it's very stressful, and I wanted something where I would learn and grow a lot, so I chose the stressful option. Um, but what how is it different from Malaysia education? I think it's that Malaysian education is very much exams. It's a lot of exams and it's one way learning. Like the teacher talks and you listen. But Minerva is a lot more discussion based and you're encouraged to bring in your own opinions. And you have a lot more freedom with your education. Like you can choose and explore courses throughout the 4 years. Whereas in Malaysia, you need to decide what you're going to study right now and you're just going to follow that coursework. And you have less freedom in terms of assignments, where in Malaysia it's very set. Instructions are very clearly set. And I think Malaysia also has a bit less like academic freedom. And there are certain things you shouldn't and cannot talk about. And I like with Minerva, I can just do whatever I want with my academics, like what I want to research about. I have quite a lot of freedom with it. So I think those are the main differences between Minerva and Malaysia.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Elvis. Next, Helicóptero, fique à vontade.
Hi everyone, good evening. Good evening, Kate. My question for you is short. It is more of a curiosity. I researched some important curiosities and discovered that one of the 60 tallest buildings in the world is located in Malaysia. I believe that the name is Petronas Twin Towers. Do you know?
Mhm.
Yes, sure. My question is, have you ever been to the tallest building in Malaysia?
Oh, yeah. I think someone asked that question just now. I haven't been to the Petronas Twin Towers before. I've been outside. I haven't been inside the tower itself, but I've gone to the shopping mall below it and the park that's beside it. It's actually, I think, the tallest twin towers in the world, but actually they just built a new tower in Malaysia. I think it was completed last year, and now it's the second tallest building in the world.
It's amazing. Sure. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Helicóptero. Next, Erika.
I think it's Larissa now because it's my second time.
Of course. I just followed the line, but if you would like to give the chance for Larissa, that's sort of the fine.
Good night, Kevin. I think we have pretty similar tastes. I think we could be good friends. I'm also a big fan, a big Lana Del Rey fan, and I want to know what are your favorite songs. In fact, I don't know a thing about Malaysia. I learning with you guys, and tell me some facts about Malaysia. It could be a silly thing. That's are the more important things in my opinion.
Yeah, I love Lana Del Rey. I only started listening last semester. I think some of my favorite songs is White Dress or Video Games or West Coast or Radio. I love all those songs. And I think, but the very first song that I listened to was Young and Beautiful, and I still really like that song. And you said you want some like silly facts about Malaysia. Is that it? Like I can think of a few. The first is the largest roundabout in the world. Is actually in Malaysia, in our administrative capital where the government buildings are. I think it goes around the whole city. That's why it's the biggest in the world. And this fact is quite embarrassing. But in World War II, when Japan invaded Malaysia, they invaded on bicycles. They landed in Thailand and then they cycled into Malaysia and took over Malaysia. Quite embarrassing and silly. Other facts I can't really think of. Maybe that Malaysia used to include Singapore until they left in a few years after we formed Malaysia. Those are just some three facts I can think of.
Ok. Meu notebook tá travando um pouquinho, então acho que eu não consegui pegar boa parte assim do que foi compartilhado. Mas, Larissa, is your question answered? Is that fine? Tá tudo certo? Essa pergunta foi respondida?
Yes, tá travando um pouquinho aqui também.
Ah, tá. Perfeito. So now, Erica, would you like to bring your question that you were gonna ask before?
Okay. Kevi, I'm curious about, for example, you study a lot. I think you are very busy, and it's possible you study and work. It's possible, or it's complicated.
Oh yeah, I do work part-time. My university gives us work so that they can give us money to eat and to survive.
Mhm,
I work
mhm.
about 7 hours on that a week, and I also teach math online. That takes up about 3 hours a week.
Mm.
I would say it's manageable this semester. I just have to teach mainly at night because it's US timing. Um, but it's manageable because I have like weekends and weekdays, and my classes are not too long, so I'm able to balance between both work and study.
Wow, congratulations. Interesting. Thank you so much.
Congrats. Well, see Jefferson.
Hi, Kavi. Nice to meet you. Nice to talk to you at the first time. I hear you before in other classes, but it's my first time asking. I'm curious about the dance of Southwest Malaysia. Uh, we know a lot of kind of dances. I don't know if the correct word is folk dance or ethnic dance, and I want to know everyone learns that kinds of dance, or is just for a few people, just for some special people that learn dance. Did you learn dance when you was a child? Is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think it's very common for people to learn to dance. Also because there's many different type of dance in Malaysia. I can show you some pictures. But I didn't learn to dance, and not many of my friends learned to dance. Uh, Let me see if it's loading. Okay, yeah, I think it loaded. So this is like a traditional Malay dance. It's more like in partner, and this is how it looks like. There's also like for Chinese community, we have lion dance. This one, like it's very hard to dance this because you need a lot of training. And I think in Malaysia, it's also very famous to have like acrobatic lion dance. So they dance on the pole. It's really scary if you get it wrong, you like fall. But it's during Chinese New Year, and when you have a marriage or you have a new house, you would normally have lion dance to celebrate for Chinese people. And then for the Indian community, they also have like dance called Bharatanatyam, and it's also a different type of dance. I know some people who learn this kind of dance, but it's not very common to learn traditional dance in Malaysia. Most people they learn like modern dance.
Thank you.
That sounds like really interesting. And congrats, Jefferson, for bringing your first question here. You did amazing. Hope to see you more. Next, well, I think we got Durval.
Kevin, I am curious about economics in your country. What the first export product in your country, and the agriculture and in technology?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Our largest export for technology is like integrated circuits. So the things that go into your smartphones, all that, we that is actually our largest export in total. Besides that, we have a lot of petroleum and yeah, petroleum. Um, and palm oil is also a very big export of ours. besides that, we also export a lot of rubber. So most of the rubber gloves you had used during COVID are all from Malaysia. Most of the condoms that are in the world are also from Malaysia. Um, I think, yeah, those are the main exports. And economics wise, we are quite a free economy.
Okay. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Well, so we're almost in the end of the session. Now, I have a few questions before we finish, and I would like to know, since you're considering into following a path in education after you graduate college, is your capstone project correlated to what is your future plans, like your capstone project in Europe? How does
Yeah.
that work for you?
My capstone is about mental health education. So I'm planning to host mental health literacy workshops in Malaysia over the summer for high school students because um, a lot, like the statistics show that mental health related struggles and challenges and mental illness is increasing a lot among the youth, but very little of the students actually have understand what is mental health and what are mental illnesses, so they don't identify those signs before it's a bit too late. So my plan is to conduct those workshops and write a policy proposal based on the results of the workshop to encourage for this workshop to be implemented in other schools in Malaysia. So I think my capstone is kind of a mix between policy, public policy, as well as education, which is kind of aligned with my major and my future plans.
That's really inspiring, and I think you really have a great project with a great goal. Like it's a big struggle for people worldwide, like with mental health and balancing college and maybe balancing work and other stuff. So that's really inspiring. Thank you so much for being contributing to this type of work. Bom, então eu perguntei para o Kiv qual que era o seu atual projeto de TCC que ele está trabalhando na Minerva, que se chama Capstone Project, e ele havia mencionado que depois que ele terminar a faculdade ele quer trabalhar principalmente na área de educação e em organizações que, enfim, não tem fins lucrativos. E eu perguntei, então, como que é o Capstone Project dele de agora, qual que é o TCC, e ele falou que principalmente o foco é na educação e também relacionado à área da saúde mental. Então, ele sabe que tem diversos aspectos, principalmente na educação, tem algumas coisas que podem desencadear ali alguns problemas relacionados à saúde mental, realmente, ao equilíbrio. Então, ele se vê no futuro realmente trabalhando nessa causa e principalmente o projeto dele agora trabalha em questões de políticas públicas para que isso possa ser cada vez mais aprimorado na questão educacional. E eu acho que isso é algo muito pertinente, muito importante, acho que no mundo inteiro, porque às vezes tem muitas questões de pressões que normalmente estudantes sofrem, assim, de forma geral, ainda balancear várias coisas ao mesmo tempo. Acho que é um projeto incrível. So before we finish, I would still like to bring more questions here, and if anyone would like to make a question, you guys can just raise your hand. Like we have like something as 5 minutes before we finish. Então, se mais alguém aqui gostaria de perguntar algo, porque fique à vontade para levantar a mão, perguntar algo sobre a cultura, sobre o seu projeto, agora que é algo super legal de perguntar, talvez, sobre o seu país, enfim, fiquem à vontade. Let me see who has raised their hand. Bom, temos Enox e Iris. Enox, fique à vontade.
Hey, Kevin. You mentioned that one of your exported products is petroleum and gas. And I would like to know, first of all, I'd like to tell you that my city is Mossoró, in the state of Rio Grande do Norte. And Mossoró is the #1 in petroleum productivity from land, not from the sea, from land. We have here more than 2,000 petroleum wells, and I would like to know if the petroleum from Malaysia is obtained or is get from from the sea or from the earth?
Oh, that's really cool. Most of the petroleum in Malaysia is from the sea. So in the South China Sea mostly. So it's on the east coast and in the east of Malaysia. That's where most of the petroleum is.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. So thank you, Knox. Since we have a limited time before we finish, I would already like to jump for the questions. And it is, fique à vontade.
Hello, good evening. My question it's a little personal, so if you don't want to answer, okay. Well, did you fall in love in one of the countries you've been studying, and then you think, now I need to leave, and my heart is hurting? Did you feel something like that?
Yes, I definitely did when I left Buenos Aires, when I left Argentina. It was like hurting so much that I was like, should I really want to go back in the future? And I almost petitioned to go there in the next year. It would mean I would be separate from all my friends, but I was like, maybe it's worth it, but it just costs too much money, and it will be too much moving for me. But I will want to go back in the future after I graduate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Iris. And lastly, we have Paula, fique à vontade. Pessoal, vocês conseguem escutar a Paula? Sim. Paula, acredito que a gente não está conseguindo
O
escutar você.
microfone não está desligado?
O microfone está ligado, às vezes pode ser o fone de ouvido ou o microfone. Tá, perfeito. Ok. Não, a gente ainda não escuta você. Ah, tá, uma pena. Eu gostaria talvez de tentar deixar a pergunta no chat. Ou tenta falar a pergunta de novo. Acho que alguém ouviu bem baixinho. Não, eu estou escutando realmente. Ok. Bom, então, enquanto isso, para aproveitar esse tempo, mais alguém gostaria de perguntar algo? Fazer alguma consideração? Enfim, um agradecimento?
Kevin said that he likes to cooking. What's the favorite dishes you like to prepare?
Yeah, I love to cook Asian food, usually Malaysian food like chicken curry and rice, because I usually cook when I'm away from home and I want something that feels like home. So I usually cook a lot of Malaysian food. Um, Besides that, I also like to cook like bit of Vietnamese food. That's like my very lazy spring rolls. It's very easy to make. Um, I need to learn how to cook more like European food probably because I'll be living here for a long time, like the next year. Um, but yeah, generally Malaysian food and Asian food, Japanese food.
Yeah, I like to Asian food. I like the Hawaii poke. Do you know this dish?
Yeah, I love poke bowls. It's so nice.
We, I have sure we could be good friends in other dimension.
That was funny. Well, unfortunately, we are in the end of the session. And Paula, I'm not sure if you can speak now, and if we can hear you. But like we in the end, unfortunately, we must finish it since it's midnight for Kev now in London, so it's late for him, and then we gotta go. But thank you so much for everyone who have participated. It was a great session to learn more about Kev here, about Malaysia, about many things. And I hope to see you guys in the next sessions by Wednesday and Friday. So thank you, everyone. Espero encontrar vocês nas próximas chamadas na quarta e na sexta.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Your
Kevin.
English is easy to understand. Thank you.
Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you.
Nice to see you again.
Bye-bye.
We got Paula's question.
Thank you.
We got Paula's question.
Oh,
Is that
bye-bye.
okay if we get... Kev, is that okay if we actually take Paula's question?
Yeah, sure. What qualities I appreciate most in people? That's a very deep question. I also probably someone who's authentic, like someone who's genuine, and whatever you see is what you get. So if you're happy, you're happy. Like I don't like people who are fake, but also people who are very funny. I like people who are very funny.
Então ele gosta de pessoas que são autênticas e engraçadas. Thank you,
That's the
everyone.
answer. Thank you, Erica. Good night, Fabio. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you,
everyone.
Elaine.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you,
I
Kevin.
appreciate it.
Bye.
I
Success,
appreciate it.
Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.